Welcome back to the Speaker Lab podcast. My name's Dan Irvin. I'm excited to be here with you today. This is the show, the episode where we kind of pull up a chair, not literally, but kind of pull up a chair with a speaker who's always maybe a step or two or maybe a lot more steps down the road from you, because watching someone live it beats any amount of theory, right? And so that's what we're doing today. We are back with our alumni speaker connection episodes, and today's guest has spent several decades in radio, television, and on stage. She is an award-winning speaker, a singer, a media producer, and an ordained minister. And let me tell you what, her entire message lands on something every parent in the room, that's probably, if you're listening right now, every parent is, including me, is wrestling with right now, that the screens are quietly raising our children while we are looking the other way. Robin Blair, welcome. Thanks for spending some time with me today.
Oh, Dan, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I gratefully accepted this opportunity to come and talk on the Speaker Lab podcast. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Well, before we get into the business of speaking, you have a phrase for your work, digital discipleship. And I want you to share that with the audience. Like, pretend that you and we just met at a coffee shop and I've never heard those two words put together. Share with me and the audience, like, what does digital discipleship actually mean?
Yeah, so thanks. Digital discipleship matters is what I'm calling my little work for it. But digital discipleship is a phrase that's turning into like it's almost like Bible study, right? Like Bible study is a phrase that almost anybody who works within a faith-based context encounters, right? You go to a church or a faith community, you end up studying your scriptures. Digital discipleship is the same idea now because we live in a ubiquitous media culture. You can't turn a corner without a screen or a digital encounter. How many people in culture do you know in society that don't walk around with a tiny computer in their hand? Right? It's a digital culture. So if we do not take some kind of for people of faith, some kind of a faith orientation to the world that's even right in our hand, that's called digital discipleship. We're missing the boat. We're missing an opportunity. So does that make sense to you?
Makes total sense. Yeah.
There you go.
It's something that we're all constantly, you're right. We have it at our availability. We constantly have it with us. We're going to dive into some more of that in a little bit, but I want to spend a few minutes on what's going well right now that you shared with me, because you've had kind of a real shift lately. And one of the wins that these last few months that you shared was less about a single booking and more about a mindset. And I think this is really important, really critical. You told me that you're learning, that you can move from speaking for a little or nothing to being paid in a way that actually values what you bring. So what cracked that open for you?
It turns out that the notion of being clergy, always giving, which I'm happy to do, delighted to do, and have been, preaching from the pulpit for, like you said, a couple of decades now. And certainly happy to have done it. And don't forget, in the church, every single penny that comes forward, it comes from the generous donations of the pockets of the parishioners. And I've always been grateful, but I have just stepped away from that. And now, as a professional speaker, I'm just moving into the world of being invited to other contexts to speak. And what I'm bringing has value to people for their lives and for generations of their lives. And it's perfectly okay to receive compensation for that they're going to take that with them and go ahead into the world and pass it on. For example, the digital discipleship notion, because that's not coming in through the church. So I don't know why the churches are silent on this. I've been trying to bring it into the local churches for years, and I've not been successful. That's the bottom line. The church is are currently just involved with the everydayness of what a church is involved in, and that's okay. It's been, pastoral care and everyday worship and all the, ministries and missions, and it's all good, but for some reason the internet has not been seen as a mission field. And it is. So I'm taking the on the mission field of the internet, and I'm taking it outside the local church, and people are beginning to listen. And so that's why it's happening, I think.
Yeah, I love that. One of the other things that you had said to me that stuck with me is when, and you kind of mentioned it a little bit there, but when an audience has asked for you by name, they show up already kind of leaning in, and they're engaged before you say a word. Like, compare that for me and for the audience for a moment, like to the Sunday pulpit. Like you said, you've been doing that for decades, like where a congregation can get, can kind of quietly take it for granted that you're going to be there and ready for them every week. So share with me a little bit about, compare that when they're already leaning in.
Well, the difference there too is that a congregation, God bless them, is going to be a whole mix of people. And I've had people who say to me very directly, I really just want to hear something for my life from Scripture. Please just talk about Scripture and tell me how that applies to my life. And then I have other people who say, oh, no, it's about social justice, and tell me how, the world today is going to make sense to me and how God will speak. And so you've got this beautiful mix of people, and you have to listen to that body, and you're the shepherd for that body of Christ. So it's really a very specific contrast, and it's a beautiful context for what that job and what that mission is. So that's different. So the internet as a mission field and the digital discipleship as an actual mission that God's called me to now, as you say, people are leaning into that conversation. So God has called me to narrow the field right now. So that's why I've chosen to answer it right now. And I could tell you the story of how that knocked me on the head a number of years ago if you want to hear it.
Yeah, sure. Share it with us.
All right, here's how it happened, and I'll be as succinct as I can because it was literally 30 years ago before I entered seminary. I started, as you mentioned earlier, in the entertainment field, okay? And I was involved in, believe this, television shopping. I was a TV shop host on network TV shop, 80 million households or whatever it was. And from there, I went into network children's radio. It was a beautiful thing. It was the very first children's radio network across the country. I loved it. From there, I went into a partnership with somebody, and we created a children's, it was a television production company. We created a children's radio show, or a television show, and we created 4 pilots. We sold the show to Animal Planet Network. And in the course, and we were just really blessed. I mean, that just didn't happen easily. And we did it. And I ended up going to the New York City Toy Fair. Now, anybody in this industry knows you've got to go to Toy Fair. Everybody goes to Toy Fair. Excuse me, I need a drink of water. Our children's television show was live action and puppet, and it was music, and it was narrative storyline. And so we had puppets, and in order to pay for the show, the economics of it, we were looking at plush and trying to make deals and make money. You had to do out. That's why there's so many branded products in the stores for all the children's stuff, because TV doesn't pay for itself. Anyway, so I went to one of the plenaries during the toy fair, and there was this guy there from BBD&O, big ad agency. And at the time, they were bringing in a brand new show from the UK. And it was called Teletubbies. And I don't know how many of our friends listening right now know that show for toddlers, but it hadn't been brought in yet. And he showed a clip of Teletubbies. And let's just say, we were all looking at each other, because it's all about children's programming. And we were all looking at each other, wow, that ain't Sesame Street. It was like, wow, what was that? And that was sort of the vibe in the room. And this guy, big deal guy from BBD&O's massive ad agency. And he caught the vibe, and he said, and here's the whole story, here's the point. Well, folks, like it or not, 1-year-olds are targets too. I I I wanted to. It was like, what?
Wow.
Now,
Yeah.
it hit me. I thought my heart would stop. I wanted to vomit on the floor. I can't even tell you, Dan. That was like, wow. Now, I don't consider myself a naive person, but that's not why I made a TV show. And at the time, this was in the 1990s, there had to be FCC rules. There had to be at least 3 hours a week of educational programming on all networks, or you lost your FCC license. And our TV show, our blessed little TV show, had educational value. The rules have changed dramatically. In 2019, the rules changed big time. Long story short, that part doesn't matter. So now that stayed with me. And very shortly after that, we sold the TV show and all of that. But very shortly after that, I got very discouraged with the industry itself. And I answered the call to ministry and I went to seminary. And I followed seminary through all the way to getting a doctorate. And now, all these couple decades later, I'm taking that information that God spoke to me. I'm taking all my media information because I understand how creating it and marketing it, I understand how it all works, and all of my ministry, and I'm putting it together, and I'm trying to help parents and families understand what their actual power is, how you can use discernment and not make an enemy of media, but really discern what's good for you and your families and what isn't. And I don't tell you what's good for you and your families, but I want to help you discern so you really understand, because there's a lot of harm that is out there and being pummeled at you. And that's where digital discipleship comes in. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I wanted to jump in because, again, you actually answered one of the questions I was going to ask you, because you spent so much time inside of radio and television. You know how media is built to grab a person's attention and hold it. I mean, that story just really connects the dots there. And little did I know, also, side note, Robin, if I knew that we were going to talk about Teletubbies today, man, that would have just changed my whole perspective. I love that you brought that up. I wasn't expecting that. But you know how they grab people's attention. And that sounds like it was a moment that just shifted a lot for you right now. And I guess the question I have for you, because I was going to ask you how it shifted, you certainly explained that. You certainly articulated that. But a lot of people listening right now are sitting on a whole career of skills and quietly wondering if any of it counts towards the thing that they feel called to do now. You certainly felt called. You mentioned that and pivoted. You didn't start over. You redeployed, right? Like you kind of maneuvered around that. So what part of that turn did nobody warn you about? What part of that turn was difficult or challenging that you just maybe didn't see coming?
Oh, well, the turn, well, which part? You mean the speaker part or the God call part which part do you mean?
You get to pick.
Ah, yes. Well, the God call part is, are you kidding me? I remember, no, I can't even. The God call part is just ridiculous. You can't possibly feel worthy. When the God call part finally became unmistakable, I went and talked to my minister at church, and I cried for a half an hour, and then I went into the woods and screamed and stomped and shouted and thought, this is ridiculous, because you can't possibly feel worthy to preach and to guide and all that kind of stuff. And then you go to seminary, and what they do in seminary is they break it all apart for you, and if you can put it back together again, which is how that works. So somehow you emerge, and I did. You stick it out, and you did, and it's a blessed path without a doubt. And you can't get through it if it's not real. Believe me, you can't get through it if it's not real. And it has been a remarkable journey. And I guess that's what's been also so interesting in acknowledging the speaker path. Because one of the things I think, Dan, that has been challenging about acknowledging the speaker itself path, I have no problem being in front of people. I love speaking and sharing a message and a truth. I'm very much called to do that. It's the challenge is I'm not playing. I'm not playing around here. This is no joke. I am sincere. I have a truth to share. I'm not sure everybody wants to hear it. I can fluff it up a little bit. The notion of this particular truth. There's so many pieces of it. There's
Yeah.
The secrets of advertising. There's media ratings. Oh my goodness, media ratings they're nonsense, Dan. If we had time, oh boy, would I have fun with that with you. You can't even believe media ratings are just.
Let me, you actually said something in there that I thought was actually a pretty good piece to pull out for a moment. Because one of the things that we talk about, you said, I don't know if everyone's ready for it. Like, here's the interesting thing about being a speaker. I believe that personally, and I think what we've coached and trained on a lot with our students and our speakers here at the Speaker Lab, is that actually most people, not only are they not ready, they don't care about your message. They don't care about my message. They don't care about anyone's message. And so one of the goals, one of the requirements in my mind, one of the aspirations is that we've got to find the people that not only care about our message, but need it, that need it desperately, right? Because they're out there, but they're not the majority. They're the smaller group. But a lot of speakers get into speaking because they think, well, my message can connect with everyone. You just said the opposite, right? Because you said most people, I don't know if they're ready for it. And I would agree with that. So we've got to find the people that do, which actually, I want to get practical with you for a moment, because one of the things that you brought in and you shared with me is some of the things that you're doing in your own speaking is you're taking this seriously. I love that. I love that conviction when you said it. I felt it. Like I'm doing this. I'm moving in this direction. And you shared with me that you sent recently a faith-based conference, like several emails, like a real offer, like information that you thought was relevant and compelling, and you got nothing back. By the way, this is very normal, but it doesn't take the sting away, right? You get nothing back. Not a no, just silence, right? And so, like, walk me through how you approach them and where you think it went quiet.
Well, I'm prepared for that. Honestly, this has been something I've been working on for many, 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 many years. Even while I'm in the church, I'd reach out to various groups, women's groups and prayer groups and all different kinds of groups, and say, hey, let's talk about district groups. I've done a few things here and there all through these years. And how to deal with Facebook, how to deal with women in media. And I have had some success there, but it's been very slow, baby steps, introducing. And when I get in front of people, they're very receptive. So that's been wonderful. But it's a slow introduction. And so I've just learned to take it on and recognize that it's relational. I have to create the path a little bit and have people learn to trust that I'm not here to, throw big bombs in the lifestyle that they have, but just a gentle, here's, I know you've been living like this, and hey, here's some information that might be super helpful. So just a slow, gentle, how about? And that's why this discernment tool that I've developed, I'm hoping will be the key that unlocks, at least for families. That's where we're starting, I think, for parents and kids. The discernment tool, I think I sent it to you. Did you get a chance to take a peek at it?
Yeah, thanks for,
And also, I just want to say thank you to Chris, who sent me a big, long list for the Speaker Bureau piece, a beautiful list of more in-depth folk that might be tuned in to what I have to offer. And I'm hoping, because I've tuned down the offer of faith-based families that are trying to navigate the influence that media has. Because Dan, you have kids. I know our listeners have kids and grandparents, make no mistake, because we're all fighting and discussing media. How old is my kid when they get a phone? The kids who need, my children, they're 13. Do they have to have a phone? They want a phone. They're asking for a phone. Is it time to get them a phone? Is it time for PG-13 movies if they're 10? I mean, these conversations are going on in every household. Totally. Everybody everywhere. So we're having these conversations, but the faith communities are silent. Why is that, Dan? So that's where I'm starting. Yeah. That's the conversation I'm starting with.
I love it, and I love the approach that you're taking. You said it well. It's building the relationship. It's providing value. It's connecting with them, and it's not just assuming, but really kind of doing the research, digging in, and connecting value with them. And so I love that's the approach that you're taking. That's certainly the approach that we coach Trey on, the approach that I take in my own speaking business. So I can certainly appreciate that. Now, before we start wrapping things up, because I am going to give you an opportunity here in a moment to share where people can find you and talk about you and connect with you and some of these other tools that you have, because I want them to be able to get to that. But we do something at the end, towards the end of these episodes, where it's just a fun, I didn't prep you for this, Robin, so this is just going to be top of your brain. It's meant to be fun. Just a rapid fire, just kind of answer. It can be a quick answer, but again, no prep. Are you ready?
No, I just did a brain dump. No.
Oh, you're going to have to be ready, because here we go. All right.
Okay.
Top of mind. First thing, don't overthink it. First thing that comes to mind, I got a couple questions here for you. Pulpit or stage? Which one do you prefer, pulpit or stage?
Oh my gosh. Well, the stage is a pulpit, so stage.
I see what you did there. I like that you combined. Okay, your core message. Sum it up for me and the audience in 3 words. How would you do that?
Truth, love, listening.
Oh, truth, love, listening. I like that. That could be on a T-shirt, I think. I like it. All right. Okay. Here's one that kind of goes right to the direction of the screens and the what you were saying there towards the end. But the one app that you wish you could uninstall from every kid's device.
Oh, yeah. Good one. TikTok.
Okay. All right. I probably agree with you on that one. We don't allow that in this house, but with our kiddos. So I got you on that. Okay. Here's another one for you. Goes with your faith-based approach. So before you speak, are you focused in on a quiet prayer or loud worship before you speak?
Personally, it's a prayer.
Okay. All right. I like that. And last one, you could take a beat on this if you need to, just if you need a moment, but you've spent a whole career watching media shape what kids believe about themselves, right? And your work is about handing that power back to the parents, as you mentioned. So finish this sentence for me. The screen will tell our kids who they are unless children and parents together discuss the discernment, the values, the way they honor God, the way they honor one another, and determine their values together and grow up together. I love it.
That was a terrible sentence, but I think you get the gist.
We got it. We got the gist. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So, all right. So tell everyone where we can find you, the keynotes, the workshop, if you have any other platforms out there, where do they go?
RobinBlair.com has all my keynotes and some spiritual coaching on there. I do spiritual coaching for families too. You can find that there. There's a lovely little quiz on there that'll clue you in on how to assess where perhaps you are with your family right now. And I'd be delighted to engage in a free phone call so that we could discuss where you are, if that's something that's of interest to you, or certainly engage in a phone call about a potential keynote or workshop. That'd be delightful. RobinBlair.com is the place.
I love it. Thank you. All right, Robin. Thank you so much. This one mattered, and I appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us and our audience today. So everyone listening right now, here is what I want you to take from Robin. Like, she spent years inside the very machine that's competing for our kids, and she could have called that a past life, but instead, she actually turned that into her qualification. Like whatever you've already done, the detours, the previous career, the old career, the chapter that you thought was closed, like that is not wasted time. That can be, in my opinion, that can be your next move, your next step. And I want to encourage you, pick it up and start moving towards what matters now. That's it for this episode. My name's Dan Irvin. Excited that you joined us for this one. This has been the Alumni Spotlight from the Speaker Lab. Now go do the brave thing this week, and we will see you next time. Thank you all so much.
God bless.